Hey, welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. I jumped on a few minutes early. Actually, only about a minute early. I'm scheduled to go on at 3:30. Um, but I just wanted to jump on today, and it felt like it was forever just trying to get on. You ever have those days when you feel like everything that you're trying to do is like it takes extra energy? And that's because of whatever is going on in our own life, right? Again, our energy is made up of psychological and emotional energy. And so when we're looking at shadow healing, and why do we want to look at shadows? Well, if again you're in a karmic relationship and it goes on and off, or if you feel like you keep living these karmic themes that keep you stuck in limitation, fear, lack, again, could be within money, it could be within relationship. We want to look at the shadow because we want to look and see what your behaviorisms are that are blocking you from health, wealth, and all around emotional fulfillment. We also want to look and see if we're dealing with somebody that continually triggers us. We want to see maybe why is that happening and how to deal with that person if we want to keep them in our life, obviously, right? So karmic themes are situations that play out that have the same type of themes when it's a karmic loop. We keep living the same type of experiences, and that same experience could be where you get bullied, or you're in a position at work where you always feel as if you have to, become so subservient, or you have problems with boundaries, whatever the theme is. And again, we live themes that keep us stuck in limitation. We live all different types of themes, but the characters in the story continually change. And so what happens is that this is what creates a neurological pathway within our mind. This is what keeps us blocked in limitations. So as I was saying, we want to look at the spiritual energy all the time because it allows us to see why things are manifesting the way that they are, why you keep attracting the same type of people, why the same type of situations that you don't like living, which again we would call those experiences that we have blocks. We want to see why that happens, especially if we're dealing with a relationship. Now, if you're new to the channel, all you need to do, if you resonate with this and you want to win a free psychic reading with me and to enter it, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the magic word in your comment bar. Now, the magic word is always going to be the first card that I pulled using my deck. Okay, the Psychic Soul Healer deck. And whatever that card is, this is how we always start the reading too. So I make it easy. So it's like the word that you're going to write in the comment bar is maliciousness. Right? And that's also the energy that we're going to start this reading off in. You'll also find other important information in the description box that I'm sure you can figure out, but there will always be whatever I'm giving away. Today, again, you have the chance to enter into winning a free psychic reading with me. All right. So, maliciousness. Now, a lot of times when we think of someone that's mean, we think that it's, again, that they don't like us, right? So a lot of times that could be because they're jealous, usually. So I'm feeling like there's this energy like that's around you. I should also say that, again, this video is going to be for anyone that lands on it. There's going to be no zodiac. Whenever I don't label, it's because it's free-forming. And right now, as I build the channel, I want everyone to be able to jump on when they, and, listen. I want everyone to be opened, because when you're opened, you're going to be able to receive the message better. And when you're able to receive the message better, you're able to think really about what you need to do to shape shift the situation. And shape shifting your situation is if you're around people that actually are not nice, like you want to obviously leave your environment, or you might want to, you know, sometimes you can't leave, right? So sometimes that you're working in a place where you feel like you can't leave. So it would be, how would you deal with maliciousness? Maliciousness comes in many forms. But I also feel like this is a wound of yours, that you feel that every time you're on the road to creating something or doing something for yourself, you draw a lot of attention to you. And like you could be working a job that everybody else works at, but you have your own style, you have your own flair. It's something that you never felt comfortable with. This is the energy. And this is why you're not comfortable with energy like this, right? When we are intimidated by other people in our environment because we're triggering them just because we are, like passionate about what we're doing. Person's passionate about what they're doing, they get inspired. They have a lot of creative visions, which again, when we're creating, we are in the flow of the universe, because the universe is just a high vibration of love. And that's when we're not feeling any stress. We're in, again, our imagination. This is why it says in the Bible, be like childlike. So you have a childlike energy and people like you. And then there's also your flair is a lot different. And it attracts a lot of people, which makes people in your field extremely jealous, is what I'm feeling. And I'm also feeling like then you also live many experiences where you trigger people where they're just jealous of you. And maybe it's because of the way that you look, or your fashion sense, or the car that you drive. It could be anything. It's always happened from a young age all the way to now. It's been a karmic theme, and that karmic theme is what plays out. But when it plays out, understand it means that more people come into your life to teach you this lesson, so in order for you to master it. The genius is the God part of self, the higher self, the spirit part of self, part of unconditional love. So when we're actually in the genius, it means that we're actually, that even though these people are throwing shade, even though these people, again, wish you your downfall, understand that God part of self. When you are in your passion, when you are doing what you love, you're actually walking with the divine, because the divine works through you, through gut intuition, inner knowing. Well, he also brings you things and people and experiences in your environment that psychically you'll resonate with when you are in the creative flow, which I feel like you're in the creative flow, and people feel that. And it makes them look at themselves. It makes them look at their career. It makes them look at their choices. And a lot of people are not happy with their choices, especially now. I'm feeling like we're in spiritual times right now where we're being called to step it up, because most of us don't live from our highest potential. And the reason why is because of trauma. And that trauma is if we feel that we are not lovable, if we feel that we can't financially survive, if we feel that there's something wrong with us, then we're going to come from a place of fear. You are not in this energy. Again, you're in the genius energy. The genius is that supernatural part of self, the God part of self. And that is when we're vibing at the highest vibration, because we're just doing what we love, becoming what we love, giving and receiving of love through our free will. Meaning it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's heaven on earth is different. We all have the power to create that heaven on earth by embodying what we love. And so again, that's the genius part of self. So regardless of what the people around you are going to want to do. You're in the highest vibration, the purest vibration of love. They can't do anything, which is even more irritating because it's again, they spend so much time on your demise that they're not creating themselves. They're staying so much in a place of lack and limitation and anger and fear because again of their belief they're actually keeping them stuck, but of course they're projecting their anger. So we can see that that's turbulent energy. Obviously, if we have a wound where here I'm getting bullied again, this is like I'm always expected to play it small because I step on other people's toes. That is what I feel like you used to try and fit yourself into a box. And now you're just at this place of, I don't care. And in that, that's why you're vibing at the highest vibration. And that's why anything that's around you that wants your downfall is not going to succeed because you're in the vibration of unconditional love. Inferiority, this is what I'm saying. You're making people look at themselves and it's bringing up their wound. So if you ever say, why I didn't do anything, but I feel like people don't like me. That's why they see something in you that you don't see within you. So again, you don't get what you want, you get what you need. And what you need was new awareness of how you were viewing yourself. And to be around people that want you to play it small and do so by manipulating you, well, it tells you everything about who they are. They don't know who they are, but they know who you are. And that's the genius part of self. That genius part of self is the God part of self that nothing can take down. It's your vibing at the unconditional love. So, but understand, it can take you down. It's not like it can't take you down. It can take you down if you put your mind towards it, like any spell, like anything that somebody wants to do. I mean, voodoo works if you're going to, believe every single ritual. If you don't believe, it doesn't have any power. That's what the genius part of self does, God part of self does. And then we see it manifest within our life. It manifests as experiences. And this is how God makes way there where there is no way for you. Well, it's also the way that, God gets to display your glory to your enemies. Perfectionist. Now, your spiritual blocks could be, wanting to be a perfectionist. Again, beating yourself up. Because people, again, you're going to trigger people. So there'll be this need to try to be perfect. And understand when we try to be perfect, what happens? We feel even more flawed. We feel like there's something wrong with us. This is not the way to create yourself. Again, remember, when you're in the flow of the universe, is your own unique individual style. No one can copy it. That's why in the Bible it says no one can take what's yours. No one can take what's yours because it's a natural unfoldment process. It happens in the now. It happens in the moment. So it's not about being perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence because, no one's perfect. No one's going to love everything that you do. And for all different reasons. Sometimes they might not like what you have to say or do. Again, just on a whole, I'm sure some people will say, oh, tarot cards in scripture. Oh, that's horrible. Is it horrible? I think that God would want it to be channeled out in an expressive, creative way, and instead of not learning at all, because it's kind of boring the way that it's taught, to be honest with you. And if I can't apply it to my life, then why would I need to know any of that scripture nonsense? Let's face it. I want to apply the magic to my life. But understand, if that's when I do so, it's transformational. And again, coming from the genius part of self, that's the God part of self, that's the supernatural part of self. That's when you're in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, and the laws of nature. Again, wanting you to be submissive. That is what I said when I was saying, like, the two things are either I have to be, see how it's out of balance when we have a block, what the behaviorisms would normally be if we were wounded. If we were wounded around people that were insecure, but again, trying to act like they were better or had more authority because they place themselves there, then they, in order for them to keep up with that charade, they would have to keep you being in submissive so that they could again feed their ego. But in that would make you not come from your true sense of self. And so then you'd feel like you had no options. But there are options when you're really good at what you do. And when you're again co-creating with that God part of self. That is what perfection is actually, because it's again, you're going to attract your vibe, your tribe that has your vibe. Again, you're a magnet of who and what is supposed to come into your life. And sometimes it's the stuff that you need. So I'm feeling like you weren't valuing you weren't coming from the right level of consciousness of how you view yourself. So you may say, why do I always get these people? And Spirit saying, well, it's never that it just, you get those people yourself. You're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. And so those people need your energy as much as you need their energy. You needed to see that, again, you're undervaluing yourself, because people that want to be mean, and they're doing it passive aggressively, and that might be, no matter what you do, they're not going to give you credit. They're going to try and, make you do a lot of work and then take the credit. They want to, place themselves in a higher authority, again, to have that situation, mirror back to them, because no one sees that you're being submissive. It's being done, and it has been done in the past by, again, this passive aggressive, nasty energy, and to someone that's close to you at one time. So this is why it continues to play out, because when we have someone that does that to us when we're a child, then we didn't get what we needed. So understand, a lot of our wounds that continue to play out, they play out as karmic themes. And those karmic themes are the same type of energy, the same theme. And the theme could be victimization. It could be betrayal. It could be, again, anything that keeps you stuck in a place of fear, and where we feel like we don't have any choice. And that would be, again, this submissive energy, people wanting to keep you in this energy. And as a highly sensitive person, because I feel like many of you are a highly sensitive person, it's easy to fall into that, right? Because you're feeling the person's emotional energy. You're seeing, again, the way that they're treating you. And if the person at one time, or at any time, was supposed to be any type of friend or any type of relative, or someone that, again, that was close to you, we could see how that would be traumatizing, and why that experience would continue to play out within a person's life until they integrated it, until they healed it. So this was the energy. The energy kind of, it was like I said, someone wanted to keep you in a place of inferiority, but you got tested. And understand, we always get tested by the people that we care about. So this is the energy. Now let's see what you did about it. I want to see what you did about it. What deck should I use? I have so many decks that I'm like, okay, Want to just see, I don't want to get into a whole thing about what you did. I just want to see if I can get an idea of what had happened. All right, let's see. Resilience. We got the Nine of Wands. We got the Seven of Pentacles. We meditate on this a second. And we got the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel as if, again, you knew intuitively that the place that you were working in, like, probably wasn't going to be the best place for you to make that investment, because you were always on guard. You could always feel the people around you. And I actually don't just feel like this situation happened at work. I feel like it's a situation that continues to play out within your life. It's showing up mainly through your money, because it talks about, again, wondering whether it was, again, worth the actual investment to move forward. And what it was is that it wasn't. What you realized was that, in order for you to grow, you really had to, you needed to stay there for a certain amount of time, and then you needed to, again, move forward. The Page of Swords. But that was the overall energy. Now, the good thing is that when we have a situation like this, hey, Wendy, when we have a situation like this, there's always karmic retribution. Meaning, if someone tries to, like, take you down, and it messes up your situation, you'll always get redirected. That's always what happens. Because, again, no one can stop us on our path. They may stop us from continuing to work in a specific place, or they may stop us in a different way, but they can't stop us from, creating who we want to be in the world. They can't stop us from becoming who we're supposed to be. So that I like, because, like I said, this was all about trying to keep you submissive. Yeah, can I tell you, that's what this is. Look, it's submissive, and it was maliciousness, right? So it was malicious because other people tried to, again, keep you, like, feeling inferior, where you would try to be always perfect and give, and also be submissive. But really, that intuitive part of yourself is, again, like what it said, got out, because it was like you were always, like, on guard, always on guard about, like, how long it was going to be for it to really work out and, like, to move forward. You really didn't think, but I feel like you stayed there for as long as you could. And that's what Spirit was saying in this story. So, again, the energy always goes to who and what needs to hear the message. So if you were wondering whether or not you were right, especially now, because there's so much turmoil, I feel like, within work, with, like, again, that trying to get that job, trying to get your money, right? It's like you've been trying to get your money and having them try and not negotiate it so that you don't get anything back. And I think that when that happens, after a while, that's like, we wouldn't be living that reality if that isn't something that has continually has happened. So we begin to look for it. So we see what we look for, and we don't understand that there's a reason why it's called stuck in stupid. It's like because we're stuck in fear, and then we can't think because we have anxiety of it not working out. When really, a lot of times, it can work out, but we may have to, like, voice something. We may, again, have to, like, be able to tap into our divine intuition to get that wisdom. So this is where people have problems, especially if they feel that they've done a lot of spiritual work. Where I feel like, Wendy, you've done a lot of spiritual work. So it's not your mind. And I just know you from YouTube, but I can tell. And I think it's more about, seeing yourself differently, grounding it, getting a better connection to your body, like retraining your nervous system, because there's many different realities that can play out in one time. There's many different, it's again, if you go left instead of right, you're going to meet different people. If you took the blue car instead of the red car, who knows? Like, again, a lot of times, like, it's these subtle things that we choose to do that changes a reality. And sometimes people get stuck. Like, I had a girl come to me yesterday that she was here for a mediumship reading, but it's like the person that I could not tap in because there was nobody there. And the reason why was because the person who she was asking about, she didn't know, which I know that sounds crazy, but it's because she was in a car accident and the guy passed away. So again, there was no emotional energy. There was no connection because there was no animosity, of what had happened, because when we die, we don't go back up to source with animosity. We realize that there's many different realities and that we chose to live an experience, and we chose to live an experience to not just teach ourselves, but we get to teach the people around us through, again, how our lives impact other people. So the truth of the matter is that she was stuck in a reality of not liking who she is, stuck in a reality of believing like that she deserved to be punished because of this accident. When really, I mean, not like, it wasn't like it was a drunk driving. It wasn't like she did anything, like it was an accident. And so it happens, and it's not that we shouldn't feel sorry and that we shouldn't grieve, but we shouldn't kill ourselves. We shouldn't die. Every day is a new day to start over, because we can't do anything with that energy. We have to transmute that energy. And we can transmute the energy if, again, we are able to integrate the shadow. And in this instance, what we saw was that the shadow started a long time ago, a long time before you got the job. It happened in the environment that you grew up in, right? Where I didn't feel like emotionally safe, or I felt like if I spoke and asked for what I needed, it was like it wasn't received well. It was taken. Maybe you lived around stressful parents. Maybe you live with one parent. Again, there's many reasons why a situation happens, but whatever the experience was, the behaviorism is what we're looking at. And the behaviorism here was to become like a submissive. It was to overgive, but then be submissive to it, because that's when you were seen as good. And so, but that's really dimming your light. And so you wouldn't know what was undervaluing you if you weren't presented with that situation, because there were always signs. And the signs could be, you're always going out of your way to invite people or to educate people or to whatever, but it's never being received back. It's never given back. So there are signs of that. And if you're spiritually evolving, you wouldn't be able to stay in any low vibrational situation that expects you to not receive what you're supposed to receive. Everything in the spiritual realm, which is, again, the mind, it's of consciousness, is supposed to be of equal value. It runs by the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature. Again, everything has a balance. This is why when someone does something wrong, there's a karmic balance, there's karmic retribution. Like you could like collect the due. You might not see it, but what will happen is your life will get upgraded sometimes so that your enemy sees it, so that the person that hurt you did it. That's why you're like, oh well, now that I'm moving on with my life, my boyfriend is like my ex-boyfriend is seeing, like me have a wonderful life. That's their karmic retribution. It's like that, or your karmic retribution rather. That's like, well, there's judgment. So that's the thing. It's like but no, in this story, thank God you broke the karmic contract because you left the job. But understand it was a karmic test because, again, being around people and situations. So let's see what other spiritual energies we have going on here. I always like to look at the psychological and the emotional aspects of the self, which is the spiritual. Because again, you manifest with your mind through the thoughts that you think. Okay, omniscience. So there is this spiritual energy that you hold. Again, so I'm feeling like you're very highly sensitive. You're someone that really thinks and then doesn't just think, is very emotional and can be very creative. Your actually natural flow is to be able to flow with the universe, like you just vibe with everyone. It's again patience. So ironically, I'm feeling like you're patient with everybody aside from yourself, but you have that flow. And then most of the time you're not focused on yourself. So this is why you're able to. And somebody I'm feeling in your environment is watching that so they can see that you're a giver. This is the energy that I'm picking up on. So you're connected to somebody that sees that you're a giver, that you're, again, patient and just very easygoing. And again, diplomacy. Again, like they would create a great future with you. Again, because of just the way that you are. Now, they're not saying that they're giving you any time. This is their perception. Whatever this is, again, we're a magnet of who and what we're supposed to hear. So you may be very attracted to this person. And that might be the energy so far. Like, is the energy so far. But it also tells me a lot, like you can go with the flow of your own, like be to your own drum. Like you could be by yourself, or you could be, again, like work amongst people, which is much different than the energy, by the way, that was before, which, like I said, I felt like you were being squished to work in an environment. So I like this energy a lot better. But I'm, again, feeling this is more not to, again, the person that's listening to this. Again, I feel like it's the person that you're connected to is, again, like viewing you as, again, somebody of good character, someone that's full of love, someone that's, I want to look at the hidden truth because I want to see whether that's true. Why intuitively am I getting that message with these cards? Why is that? I regret lying to you. So I did feel like, again, somebody from afar is like watching. Like, so there might not be in your life, not in your life right now. We will be together again. So I'm kind of feeling like this is a soulmate, but someone that that is mainly going by intuition. Someone that when they had the chance to actually be in a relationship, they didn't do what they should have done, which is make you feel comfortable, make you feel, again, valued, And now that they've been out of that relationship for a long period of time, they're reflecting back on the relationship, where that's when regret normally happens, obviously. But they had to have something to compare to. And so, but they actually feel, because they see the type of person that you are, well, you're not going to run around with all of these different people. You're not going to really do that. That's not the type of person. They have a vision in their mind of who they perceive that you are. Again, may not be right, because if the person doesn't form an emotional connection to you, it's their imagination, it's their perception, it's from what you've shown them. So it's not going to be balanced, but this is their thing. I wish I could take back my words. Again, more regret. So it's again, now the thing is like regret, where a person keeps on, it's again, it keeps them stuck. And so it could be, again, low self-esteem. It could be ego. I don't know. We have to look, and that is important, because we always want to see intention. This one flew out. Let's grab it. It's time for me to heal now. So I feel as if, again, this person wore a mask. This person didn't know what they wanted. To be honest, that was the energy. They didn't really know what they wanted. They didn't want to see you run around. They always saw your quality. They always felt a connection, but they didn't know if they wanted all that in the time, at the time. And so they, again, didn't value it. And so they lied, and they downplayed the relationship, and they didn't do anything. And so, again, now they're kind of putting you on a pedestal, because again, they're looking at you through this, synergy energy, which is, they're seeing you as patient, and they're seeing you as someone that would be great for their future, right? Someone that's very diplomatic, someone that's very, again, the way that they want to be seen. So they're, again, coming from their ego a little bit. Now, does that mean that they know that? Most likely not. But understand, the first part of, again, taking a person's ego down, or having the ego come down, is they have to first be in some sort of regret. And they are, because what they're saying is, I didn't give the relationship the time. I misjudged what I thought that you were. I didn't give it the time. I was breadcrumbing. I was, again, finding myself. But I, of course, wanted you to keep giving me. That's where they were wrong. And so they're looking and seeing, why are they like that? It's time for them to heal. And they are seeing, again, they have commitment issues. This is why, again, a person does that, because the grass is always greener on the other side. They felt like the grass was going to be greener on the other side. Through, again, I don't even feel like there was another person, third party. I feel like they just didn't want that type of relationship. They wanted you to give them that type of relationship, but they didn't want to do it. So that's why. So it's I don't like that, obviously, because it's one-sided. One-sided relationships don't work, but obviously a lot of times when we don't want to form that emotional connection, and because we're getting to know someone, we don't want to be swayed. And this is what I feel like your person knew, but that's the way that they, would figure out who that they would like without getting hurt. They would date a bunch of people and kind of lie. To see, again, you have to put your best foot forward first, so I can see whether I like that, and then I'm going to decide, and that's where they've been wrong, because it doesn't work that way, because then resentment comes, and you're already focused on something that's better instead of being happy and content in the moment. I still have growing to do, and that's what I was saying. It was even though that they know that it's time to heal now, they also need to go deep and understand why. And that was a very immature way because it's all about them. Like you can't be in a relationship with that's one-sided. That's why they need growing. And you would feel like you were always having to teach them or tell them, and then they would feel as if you were judging them. And so we can see with why being with somebody on a lower vibration is really difficult. Really difficult. Because they're going to be triggered. You're going to get triggered all the time. There was something interfering in our relationship. Yeah, other people. Because again, you were breadcrumbing so many people where they were giving their best foot forward and you weren't really giving anybody anything. And so your ego was really inflated, which is why you lied and you gaslighted and you did everything that you did. But you need to now see why you did it on a deeper level. And they know that. But understand, if we weren't crazy about someone in our life that walked away from our behavior, would we ever change? Would we have awareness enough to change? Probably not. It takes a situation or experience where we realize that we hurt somebody, that we could have been somebody really important in our life, especially if we felt that that was a connection there to begin with. All because they were focused on it not working. Like, I need to be safe, so let me breadcrumb everyone. So then this way, like, I don't really get hurt. I don't have to emotionally give, but then I know who I can choose, what's going to be the best for me. It's like, I find you incredibly attractive. Well, obviously, because you wouldn't be affected, right? I mean, soulmates that's why they're divine connections. It's somebody that comes into your life. You're like, oh, you've changed my life. You changed my life because it's, again, I see how you live. I see how I live. I see that I wasn't, by my actions, you acted this way. I care because I'm hot for you. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a fuck. That's the truth of the matter with soulmates. It's like, it makes us stop and think. Maybe I can, why do you think a lot of times with a soulmate that's a karmic mate, we think maybe I can do that, and like it's undervaluing yourself, but you're like, maybe I can make this work, this fucked up situation work, and you know damn well that you can't make it work. And not without like being miserable most of the time. You're like, yeah, but there's this part of the time that's not that bad. Meanwhile, it's like you look crazy to like your friends and family because they're like, didn't you hate this person yesterday? No, it wasn't really that bad. I thought that it was pretty bad. You threw out all their shit onto the driveway and you held a gun to their head. No, it was just a little disagreement. Then you sound crazy because you're trying to downplay it. Now you're like, oh, my family doesn't like this person. And we see how it can go out of control with karmic relationships, soul relationships, because they don't think the way that we do. They're not going to deal with things the way that we do. So again, we wouldn't stick around long enough to learn that person's point of view. Not if that like we're getting triggered, we do so. And that's what a lot of times balances us out. You're always on my mind. So, which means that they have to do something. This is good because, again, the person has a big ego and you didn't give them what they want. Now they're also sitting with that, which is like normally they win. Normally they see themselves in a certain way. They're not seeing themselves in the way that they used to. Now that you're not in their life, now that you walked away from them, from their crappy behavior. So they actually had to make the relationship crash and burn in order for them to change, in order for them to stop and think what's important. Not dating a bunch of dumb people that I'm just in it to like see, because they were also getting their ego fed, right? The more the merrier. Yeah, but then I'm not giving to everybody, but they're giving to me. So look, I kind of feel like a rock star, like it's almost like the ego got inflated. I wouldn't be surprised if we see addictive behavior. I want to look at the trigger. Okay, upside down. I felt I was living my life upside down without a way to straighten it. You kept me trapped in an endless cycle. I feel like this is what you felt with this person because they, again, in order to like breadcrumb you and you're feeling like this passion and this connection, but they're not giving you anything. And then they're lying and they're gaslighting. They have to say something in order for you to stay there. They had to, again, give you some sense of belief sometimes that it would work out, which is how I felt like you felt like your life was upside down because you're like, I don't feel stable. Anyone that doesn't feel stable in a relationship, and that means emotionally too, is going to feel upside down. It's just the way that it goes. And it keeps you up in your head and it keeps you, again, thinking that there's a problem. It keeps you in a real low consciousness, and that's not good for creating anything in your life. Forgotten. I felt invisible and forgotten by you as if I never existed. Yeah, because a person's dating so many people, they're talking to so many people, they're of course not giving you enough. They're giving you just enough to hold on to. But that's, again, having wounds of abandonment. We'll find ourselves back in a situation where, again, emotionally, we're not getting what we need. So, again, that's what it is. Yeah, see, as again, I think that it's all about control. Like you'll always find that. It's like it's very one-sided, that's the problem. Like when we're in a relationship with someone that's insecure, they act cocky, they act like a bully, they can act very controlling, they can act manipulative, where again how they say things, their tone, everything, which again will, if you love this person, you can really like have your life turned upside down and the whole time feel empty inside because they're not giving you anything. And so staying bonded to that means that you would have abandonment issues, the abandonment wounds that needed to be integrated. So that's why this person came into your life, because it's like, are you going to put up with that? It's like you're going to put up with being forgotten. Listen, we could feel that way when we were a child and we had no choice. When, like, to say your mom and your dad were in a relationship where it was codependent, they didn't get along, that it was, up and down and back and forth all the time. And so understand that trauma, a lot of times we inherit, and we inherit it through the fact that like we don't know what a real relationship look like. So it's again not getting, and also the trauma of being a child that grew up in a home where parents couldn't give because they emotionally were wrapped up in, what was going on in their life. And I actually did a very similar story like this last night, um, where it was all about that. Of course, like the choice is, oh, should always be better to be alone than to be with them. However, it's also to break the karmic cycle, the loop, because again, we see karmic contracts where we get out of a situation like this only to wind up in our next relationship with a person that's exactly like this. So we don't want that. That's not, to be always feel forgotten about, feeling like you need to give, feeling like your life is upside down. I mean, that's like you don't have lonely. See, lonely. It's like everything in this is like I felt lonely. I felt like forgotten about. I felt like my life was upside down. So we can see like how it affected you. Let's see how it triggered them. Let's put the cards in here because they might not have even gotten triggered. They might have, again, their trigger might be, again, internal, have nothing to do with you, obviously. But if it's something so outlandish, then we know too, like, well, this is wasn't helpful. Accountable. All the blame fell on me and no accountability on your end. Oh, so they again project. So they again, they don't like to be seen like they're wrong at all. So I feel like even though they're saying you didn't take accountability, I feel as if you would tell them, this is what's wrong. This is what the problem is. This is what is not working in our relationship. And they would twist it around on you and say, again, you don't want to take accountability. It's complete gaslight. And it's like, I'm not going to take all the blame. And that's why this person still needs grow and like a lot of growing to do. Displaced. I felt out of place and a sense of not belonging. But no one can make you feel that way unless you feel that way about yourself. So this person doesn't feel good about themselves. And I believe that they thought that you were a great catch. Again, they knew what your worth was. They thought that the grass was going to be greener on the other side. They breadcrumbed a lot of different people and they fucked up the relationship that they had with you. And the real reason is because they don't feel good about themselves. That's why they're looking for this perfect person, and that doesn't exist. And that's why when you said something, they would be like, oh, you don't take any accountability for why this relationship didn't. But meanwhile, you were taking the responsibility. You were doing. I'm curious about just how they feel and how to balance the energy out. And really, I don't need to look at this. Spirit was like, you don't need to look at that card because it doesn't matter. But I'm curious. I'm like, what do they think now that I'm not there, and now that they need to like see like again, like what do they feel? And not that it's important, and we can get caught up in the feeling and sometimes hold on to that, which is why Spirit's saying, don't look at that card. It's not important. So it's like, it is kind of important though. And we have free will. Like, so it's like, I just want to know, like, it was like, what are their true feelings? I miss you no matter what it looks like on the outside. I've become good at hiding my true feelings. Well, I needed that confirmation, but we can't hold on to it. The person's broken. We can't hold on to it. We have to again, but it doesn't make your ego feel a little bit good. It's like, you still got it. Like after all the bullshit that you put me through, you know what I'm saying? Ran around, like didn't give me the time of day, and now good. I'm like glad. It's like it's a little bit of like something. It's not what like you would want, right? But in this story, whoever this is for, it's like, well, I like this story because it's like at least the person is in regret and but it's again, being that they don't want to express themselves shows that they are like hiding behind that ego. Like hiding their true feelings. Again, yeah, because you wear a mask, because you don't like who you are. You feel like there's something wrong with you. How do we deal with this little universe? Because it's like we might still have feelings for the person. And even though you'd be like, well, I don't like the person anymore. It's again, if you like the person for a certain amount of years, it's not that easy to be like, I just don't like you anymore. It's like, it's almost like a habit. It's almost like we have to like tell our mind, but what could be the advice in dealing with this energy is what we will want to know. And that would be inner strength. It's like, nothing moves me from my path to the light because I have complete confidence in myself. I realize my innate qualities and abilities and know that with God, I can do anything. All the power I need is within me. So it's like the inner strength, like meaning like, that the person isn't good for you. The person isn't on the same vibration as you. It doesn't matter that they miss you. That's the karma. That's their karma. Even though you have an attachment, even though you have feelings for this person, if they don't know how to treat you, it doesn't matter if this was a past life. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. It's that They don't love themselves. They don't feel comfortable in themselves, period. So they will never feel satisfied with anything. And so they will always expect you to be accountable for all the bullshit that they do. So it doesn't matter that they miss you. And again, because they're not even willing to surrender their ego, even though you're always on their mind. It's like, and it's really the attractiveness. And that's because, again, we have a choice. This person has a choice. They could step it up or they could just drop out. And what it looks like is they're so afraid to do anything that they would, because again, they don't want you to shatter the illusion. Again, the mask. They don't want that. You just want to see one more energy. Like, again, I like these cards, even though they're soulmate cards. Sometimes it tells us the karma, and it tells us why. Why did this happen? Is there aside from teaching me what my worth was? Is there anything that's better, like any more? Because it's like, okay, thanks. I am walking home to you. I'm not sure where I am on the path, but I am walking it. So I believe that, again, it was more for this person than it was for you. So it's like, again, by the time they get to you, you will no longer be in this space. This is this person's karma, that they realized that it was important. But by the time they actually see that you're not going to run back, by the time that they see that you're not going to repair it, that you're not going to change, because remember, that's who you are in the beginning. And like the other reading that I did, it was all about the subservient and giving up your power and dealing with it. Well, this is another spiritual test where you could have been with this person, but you would have never been happy. And you'll still have the opportunity somewhere down the line to be with this person. But I don't think they'll ever be on the same vibration because they were very selfish, right? Again, they didn't care about anybody. So we're going to leave it there. And if you resonate with this, let me know. And remember, you can always enter into winning a free reading with me by just liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and writing the magic word out. And I believe the magic word was omniscience. Thank you all for joining me. And I'll be on again soon. I'm trying to be on every day. I'm trying to be consistent. Mastery comes in doing. We're all David going up against Goliath. I hope that you're all, again, have a good night. Bye.